questions. Let's go. Boardball ready to roll today. Fired up.
That's it. That's the peak. I'm pretty much done now.
That's pretty much it. Rudy Gay back for more today. Delighted to have him. Squad is ready to go. Windy is up early on the West Coast for us, and our coverage from the Combine in full effect. Graziano, Tannenbaum, Louis Riddick is up early. We'll get to them. But we start with this. The chef, as I mentioned. Oh, did he cook one up last night? Performance of the night. Rudy Gay, Steph Curry and the Warriors on the road against the Magic. He would start slow. His team would start slow. Golden State down 15 in the second quarter, but look at the range from Steph Curry.
Man, Steph Curry, man, what is it, Mr. February 27th?
February 27th.
Goodness gracious, what is this?
Some magic in this date for him, knocking down threes. This is with 1 second left in the half.
Come on.
Nothing is outside of his range.
Come on. This is insane. This is insane.
The fact that he makes this look so casual and so regular to
Oh,
us.
my God.
Third quarter, I'm just going to let you feast your eyes here on a variety of Steph Curry doing things that maybe only he ever could do. He had 22 points, Rudy, in this third quarter.
Man, it's just like, it's so hard to guard. Me being there, I've been on the wrong side of this for so
What's
many
it
years.
like?
It's deflating to see someone hit shots like this at the clip that he does. And also celebrate in the fashion that he does adds insult to injury.
Warriors come all the way back. They have a 5-point lead going to the fourth. Now it's a 6-point game. That's Steph's 10th three-pointer of the night. They're up by 9. 3 minutes to go. A 4-point game. They needed all of these. That's his 11th three-pointer of the night. 2 minutes to go. Warriors up just 2 points. That's his 12th three-pointer of the night. When it was all said and done, the Warriors would conclude the comeback, and Steph Curry would score 56 points, tying LeBron James for the second most by a player aged 36 or older in NBA history. You see, only the great Kobe Bryant ever scored more when he scored 60 in what was the final game of his Hall of Fame career. An absolute masterpiece from Steph Curry, and I'll repeat, they needed every one of those buckets. This wasn't him, sort of tacking anything on late. That was a game right to the finish. Windy's up with us early this morning. Windy, what do we say about Steph Curry this morning?
Well, let me give it to you in a form that you and Steph will both appreciate. He made 130 yards of shots last night, 390 feet of shots. I've been at a handful of games like this from Curry. I remember when he did this the first time at Madison Square Garden over a decade ago. I promise you, everybody in that entire building last night will remember this for the rest of their lives. But as you look at the performance, what you take away from it, and I'm sure Rudy can relate to this, he's in his late 30s. All of these shots generally were created by him using his athleticism and tremendous conditioning. Yes, there was some action where he was off the ball, but look at his incredible conditioning at this time in his career and how he's been able to generate so many open shots and how he's got so much energy. The other thing I will say, before Jimmy Butler got there, and this is really not a Butler night. Butler didn't play very well, but if you look at the 8 games since Butler got there, Curry was really having the worst shooting season of his career. Now, worst is relative because he was still in the high 30s on threes. He was still averaging 22 points. In the 8 games since Butler got there, he's been unlocked. He's averaged 31 points, the best in the league in that stretch, and he's shooting 44% from 3. The Curry-Butler combination has helped unlock Steph, although this night was about his greatness.
Yeah, to your point, Jimmy Butler had just 5 points last night, but it has looked a lot better since he's been there. You mentioned it. You were playing basically his entire career. Yes. Was the span of your career. When he gets going like that, what can you do on the other side?
Well, I mean, you were talking about he's having a bad shooting year. Well, his bad shooting year would be a great one for me. So let's put things into perspective.
Pretty much anybody.
Yeah, or anybody ever. I mean, Steph is one of those guys, man, once he gets in the zone. Quietly, to me, one of the most competitive players in the history of this game. Because every one of those shots were needed. He does this in the stretch. He does this in the beginning. He's just, he never seems to amaze any of us with how he makes shots. We saw it during the summer with Team USA. He just makes shots when you need them.
When it started, when Steph Curry first became Steph Curry, whenever that was, 12, 13 years ago, remember the conversation was he stretches a defense in ways that no player in NBA history ever has. What other people would consider just chucking something up from distance, those are good shots for Steph Curry.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he redefines what a good shot is. The problem is that, we have a league full of people who are trying to be Steph Curry, and they cannot be be Steph Curry. That is the problem. But with him, that is these shots are just crazy. This is I can't even explain it.
So Joe, again, the betting angle of these things is your level of expertise. What does the world think of this Warrior team now post the Jimmy Butler trade? They've looked good. He's looked good.
This was a far more impressive win than I think people give it credit for because it's a sleepy spot for the Warriors. 82-game season, they get mixed into the schedule. This is an Orlando team that had just gotten blown out by Cleveland. Warriors were 6-1 with Butler, so they're cruising. Some games get mixed in, and they were down big and found a way to rally. This completely changes the dynamic of the Western Conference because with the Warriors, you now have 4 teams that can win the title from the West. You've got Oklahoma City, you've got Denver, you've got the Lakers, and you've got the Warriors. Now, that's going to cause issues for people who like the Rockets and Grizzlies. I understand we can dissect that later. But the key to this entire situation, Oklahoma City, by way of winning a 1 seed, should be able to cruise in the opening round. 5 games max, and then get ready to make your push in the playoffs. If the Warriors are sitting there as the 8 seed, that's the last thing that you want to see to open the playoffs. The elder statesmen who have been around the block with a head coach who understands the nuance of how to manage a team from game 1 to game 2 to game 3 to game 4. That would be a war for Oklahoma City.
For sure. They can play their way out of the play-in, though, and if they continue to go like this. So we will see. So that was the...
There are certain nights, we call it very syrupy. It flows.
Curry hits a 3 from beyond midcourt.
Once you see a couple go down, juices start flowing and the rim grows and just keep shooting.
Curry 3, got it, good! MVP chant in Orlando.
So I tell you what, and Wendy touched on it earlier, much of this season, somewhat quietly, Steph Curry wasn't having a vintage Steph Curry season. All of that has changed since Golden State got the Butler bump in the 8 games since this trade. Steph Curry averaging almost 8 more points per game. He's shooting better than 51% from the floor. Wendy, I feel like I've asked you this question about the Lakers a lot. I'm going to ask it to you about Golden State right now. Is this a team that suddenly looks poised to make a real playoff run? And by that, we'll define it as winning 2 playoff series.
Yes. I think if you look at the Western Conference, the Thunder are going to be the number 1 seed. After that, seeds 2 through 9, no idea. Now, I'm not saying the Mavericks are getting up to 2, but by the way, last night the Lakers tied the Nuggets in the loss column. I know it says they're a game back, but they're tied in the loss column. So I have no idea how the seedings are going to go. You see the Warriors in 7th. They're 2 or 3 days from being in 5th. So I think that we're going to have a lot of liquidity in the seedings, and a lot of it's going to come down to who matches up with whom. But the Warriors have become way more dynamic with Jimmy Butler getting there. And Jonathan Kuminga is scrimmaging. He's not quite ready to come back, but he scrimmaged again yesterday for, I think, the 3rd time. So they're going to get another influx of talent. They're definitely a dangerous team.
So, Rudy, let me ask you the same question. What is this team's ceiling? Do you see this team right now with Jimmy Butler and the way they are composed? Could you see this team winding up in the Western Conference Finals?
Yes, I do. I think this is a possibility for him, basically because what Jimmy does is gives them flexibility defensively, and it takes a lot of pressure off Steph just to be Steph. You have Draymond, who is also very, one of our league's best defenders and has been for a long time. And it just allows Steph to be Steph, and Jimmy can also give you offensive power, a person that can draw double teams and also pass out of those.
So we'll see what the Warriors are capable of doing. Walter Payton, we're back on Get Up. We're live above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17. The squad is in full effect today. We got tons of football coverage from the Combine coming your way, but we begin with a monster night in the NBA from a couple of aging or aged superstars, megastars, immortals. Rudy Gay, what a night for Steph Curry and the Warriors on the road in Orlando. They're down 15, but Steph started cooking in the 2nd quarter from range.
Man, Chef Curry, that's what they call him, man. Like, these shots he's making, man, he looks vintage. I won't say vintage because he's still Steph Curry. So it's weird to say.
It is. This is right at the end of the half there. That's from 50 feet. Nothing is out of his range. And then that one goes, his team again continues to be way down. But then in the 3rd quarter, he completely takes over the game. Steph Curry had 22 points in the 3rd, outscoring Orlando by himself. And you're going to see here, Rudy, the entire repertoire on display from Steph.
Yes. I mean, multiple people guarding him. It's just you can't do anything with it, man. When he's hot like that, Well, just pray. Just pray you score more points in this game.
There's just nothing you can do to stop it. The Warriors go all the way back out in front of this game. When they had trailed to the fourth quarter, we go. Warriors are up by 9. Steph catch and shoot. That's his 10th three of the night. 3 minutes to go. It's a 4-point game. Steph and Jimmy give and go. Curry's 11th three-pointer of the night. 2 minutes to go. This is a 2-point game. They needed all 12 of the threes that Steph Curry would make last night. 56 points for Steph Curry as the Warriors win again. The 56 tying LeBron for the second most by a player age 36 or older in NBA history. Only Kobe in his final game that night that he dropped 60 would score more at this age. And so again, we've got Rudy Gay, we've got Fortenbaugh with us in the conversation. We have Windy up early with us from the West Coast. And Winman, you were making the point earlier, this trade for Jimmy Butler has completely rejuvenated the performance this year of Steph Curry.
Yeah, I have to just, parse it a little bit. Like, Steph was still having an excellent season, especially by the standards of everybody in the league, but he was having a down season for him when this Butler trade happened, shooting his lowest three-point percentage of his career, and his points were the lowest since his fourth year in the league. Jimmy arriving has revitalized him. It has better balanced the floor. It has better enabled him to moderate his energy. And this was a totally energetic performance. In the 8 games since Jimmy Butler has gotten there, Steph's scoring average has gone from 22 to 31. 31, by the way, is number 1 over that stretch. His three-point percentage from a very good 37 to a much more Steph-like 43. And this game obviously accentuated his hot streak.
There's been so much conversation. Again, Fortenbaugh, for those of you who don't know, your bailiwick is the betting element of all of this. There's been so much talk since the Luka trade about what the Lakers are capable of and their futures and all of that. How about what the Warriors are capable of and their futures and all of that?
They make it a big 4 in the Western Conference. 4 teams, Oklahoma City, Denver, the Lakers, and the Warriors can go on to win this thing right now. But the acquisition of Butler not only helps you on the defensive end of the court, but offensively, the Warriors desperately needed a legit secondary scoring option. Butler can shoot, but more importantly, he can get to the line. When you have those lulls where Steph's had an off night or maybe an off 4 to 5 minutes and you need a bucket in the fourth quarter, Jimmy can either get that for you or he can get to the line to stop the bleeding. That's impressive. Oklahoma City as a 1 seed should have a much better setup than a team like the Warriors potentially staring them at 8th or Denver at 2 looking at the Warriors at 7. Keep in mind that you play for the 1 seed to get a layup in the opening round. That would be anything but. So the Butler acquisition has completely flipped the dynamic in the Western Conference and made this much more wide open than it was 3 weeks ago.
I mean, the Warriors, as you see, are a good weekend away from being out of the play-in. We'll see what winds up happening there. The Clippers will play the Lakers tonight. Someone will lose that game. What do you think of this team as currently constructed? I mean, the Warriors, we've seen them when they were what they were, and it looked like maybe it was sort of fading away.
Yes, I mean,
with Jimmy Butler, is this team capable of a run?
I think they are. I think they're very capable of a run. I think Jimmy gives them another threat on the court that Steph hasn't had this season, and we've seen it in his numbers. It's a lot easier when you have a guy that can get double teams and also be a dynamic scorer and playmaker. So Steph is thriving in this, and I think this team still goes as far as Steph takes them.
Remarkable that we have Steph Curry and LeBron James still in the middle of all these conversations, as it feels like they have been now for a generation and more. Speaking of LeBron James, if Steph had the performance of the night, LeBron was in the game.
There are certain nights, we call it very syrupy. It flows.
Curry hits a 3 from beyond midcourt.
Once you see a couple go down, juices start flowing and the rim grows and just keep shooting.
Curry 3, got it, good! MVP chant in Orlando.
Steph Curry, 56 points last night. He was spectacular, and candidly, he has been great since the Jimmy Butler trade. In the 8 games since that deal was made, Steph averaging almost 8 more points per game, shooting 51% from the floor.
How's it going, everybody? Villa Sports Network here. Just want to thank you guys for your support on the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I also want to kind of remind you to don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on the video if you like as well. But regardless of the fact, thank you again for your support, and hope to see you on the next video.